Hi everyone, I am very happy to be able to share with you one of my most profound moments in my life that changed me forever. There are 7 tapes you will be listening to. Welcome back. You are now entering tape 5, The Blue Cord. You're listening to my digitally cloned voice. I am Oriah Mirza, and what you're about to hear is what happened next after I experienced my alien surgery. To listen to that story, make sure you go back to tape 4. If you haven't yet heard tapes 1 through 4, I invite you to pause and begin there. You'll need the groundwork, the emotional texture, the energetic backdrop to fully grasp what unfolded in this moment. Because what you're about to hear is not symbolic. This is not metaphor. This is the exact account of what was done to me, what was placed inside me, and how it changed everything. To bring everything into view, let's recap what had happened. We had just returned home, and when I say home, I mean Marina del Rey, California, our little sanctuary by the sea. After the event in Paris, I was completely drained. I slept through the flight. I don't remember conversations, food, landing. I remember nothing except the overwhelming relief of stepping back into the peaceful frequency of our home. A few hours later, I was walking quietly through the hallway when I felt it. Not a thought, not a feeling. A transmission from them, the same alien being that inhabited my body in Paris. It was as if a phone rang inside my consciousness. I heard them. This time I didn't feel the 1,000 pounds of weight, but I felt the seriousness of the communication. From my experience with aliens, their seriousness is more serious than any being on Earth ever. Not even your most serious person can match the seriousness of aliens. It is a level of consciousness that defies logic. They do not play around. It makes us humans look like children, and they treat us that way. And so it was the same beings from Paris, only now they had a message. They said, there will be another visitation. Do not be alarmed. Go to your room. They didn't use the word surgery. That was my word. That's how it felt to me. I stopped mid-step. My whole body buzzed. It was 3:15 in the afternoon. My sanctuary had no walls. Aliens can arrive through any dimension. Materials make no difference. They said it would happen at exactly 7:30 p.m. Why was this so important? What did they want from me? Looking back, they didn't have to give me a fair warning, a heads up they would be visiting me. I am glad they did. I turned to Riz, who was sitting on the couch. I said, "They're coming. They told me to lie down at 7:30. They're going to do something physical." He checked in, psychically, as he does. He said, "Yes, it's benevolent. It's in your soul contract. You agreed to this." And then he went quiet. As the hour approached, my body entered autopilot. I couldn't resist. I didn't want to. I also didn't want to face it. I considered leaving the house, running, but something told me it would only delay the inevitable. You see, I had been going through a brutal custody battle. My health was depleted. I was spending most days in bed recovering. My nervous system had been shredded by stress, trauma, and heartbreak. And a part of me, somewhere deep, hoped maybe, just maybe, they were here to help. I thought maybe they were coming to repair my body. Maybe they did, but what they did was a very unusual repair. It was an energetic implant. So I lay down, fully clothed, on top of the bed, rigid, quiet, expectant, nervous, and scared. Riz entered the room a few minutes later without a word and lay down beside me. I don't remember asking him. He just knew. We both lay there, eyes closed, and then it began. I didn't see them with my eyes open. I saw them with my inner eye. Then my eyes opened, and I was seeing interdimensionally, my eyes blurred. The first alien face came into view. Giant, cracked with a million fine lines, not smooth like the depictions in pop culture. This one was old, aged, crystalline. The crevices in his face looked like the surface of a dying planet or the bark of a sacred ancient tree. I sensed he was the elder, the medicine man, the surgeon. After a harrowing 15 minutes or so that I explained in the previous tapes, they plunged me head first into the vat of gelatinous material. They were removing something. I saw it. Not bone, not flesh. It was the luminous sheath of my nervous system, my spinal cord. But I am still alive. Maybe the gelatinous material they showed me earlier. My energetic spine was replaced. My frequency scaffolding. I felt it rise through the crown of my head, smooth, intact, almost ceremonial in its exit. I felt almost nothing, a little sensation. And I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I floated inside myself like a witness. I had succumbed. I had no choice. There is a primal silence that overtakes the body in moments like this. Not fear, not surrender, something else. A divine pause. A higher being takes over. And then I passed out. A new cord was placed in me, a light blue Tron-looking cord, majestic looking and very high-tech. Not organic, I don't think. Not human. How can it be? A glowing bioluminescent filament of light, soft and yet electrical. It pulsed with codes I didn't recognize, and yet I knew them. Downloads, I felt like an insect, like a soul memory I hadn't accessed in eons, universal consciousness I had yet to experience. This was the blue cord. It would have taken me a lifetime to learn what I experienced in one 24-hour period. I couldn't leave the house. This is not a metaphor. This actually happened to me. An actual light tech conduit of intelligence, a faster DLS cable of communication and senses. And when it entered me, when it slid in and sealed, it activated a silence so complete, so otherworldly, it erased the concept of human noise pollution. To this very day, my thoughts are simple and quiet. When I woke up, everything had changed. I was dry, my lips wouldn't move. My mouth felt like paper. My eyes were so dehydrated, it hurt to blink. I stumbled into the living room. Riz was already dressed, watching me like someone who'd been standing guard at a sacred portal. He smiled gently. "You're up." "What time is it?" 3:45. "In the afternoon?" He nodded. "The next day." He'd checked on me repeatedly, but every time he tried to intervene, he got the message, "Leave her. She's being rewired." The hours that followed were not of this earth. Everything was brighter. The air had texture. Light was prismatic, crystalline. My senses weren't just heightened, they were alien. I could feel particles in the space between people. I could hear their emotions before they spoke. And yet, I was empty, like a newborn with too much wisdom and no roadmap to navigate it. We walked to an ice cream shop near the beach. It was like standing between time where it all began and ended. I knew I had been rebooted. But that took me months to realize. The integration was hard. One of the hardest experiences I have ever experienced. Made giving birth to 5 children easy. I stood before the ice cream display case like I had never seen color before. And I knew what ice cream was, technically, but I couldn't remember what it felt like. My taste buds had no memory. I had no preferences, yet. Riz asked, "What flavor do you want?" I couldn't answer. Not because I was confused, but because the network that housed those preferences was gone. Deleted, archived in another version of me I could no longer access. That's when I knew I hadn't just been altered. I had been rebuilt. I was not myself. I had to reconnect, find Oriah again, find her preferences. Had they changed? Much of it had. I began much more serious, not angry or mad, just very awake and sober. As we walked home, I tried to cry. I wanted to, but the mechanism wasn't there. I felt the ache, the longing, but the tears wouldn't come. And that terrified me. It was a human emotion, but I didn't know what it belonged to. Somehow I understood the me I used to be wasn't coming back. It was a vague memory. There was no missing, just understanding it like information codes. This was the blue cord reinstallation, reboot, surgery, and it would take years to integrate, but it began here with this transmission and this new voice. I invite you to pause, to breathe, to recalibrate with me, because in tape 6, we move into what came next. The messages and the miracle of remembering who I truly am and have become. Stay with me. The upgrade is only just beginning.